Well, hello adventurers, this is Derek, and today I am going to be doing a different kind of video, something more relaxed. I am going to be sharing with you some TikTok and Instagram reels that I saw recently, and I will be reacting to them, so it's that kind of video. So if you like that, get a cup of coffee, I have one right here. Without further ado, let's just go. Alright, this first video is about making modular set pieces for Dungeons & Dragons. Let's watch this.
Modular terrain to make large buildings for our Dungeons & Dragons games. First, I cut all the pieces I needed for the floors and the walls from XPS foam. I used my hot wire to do this just for speed, but a craft knife will work.
This is very similar to something I did a long time ago, inspired by a YouTuber. The name of the channel is WotC's Armory. And I have a few pieces right here to show you. So we made these little pieces with cardboard, so you can like set them up like a dungeon on the table with the minis and all. I really like that. So this person is doing that, but with foam. Let's carry on.
Just as well. I used hot glue to stick all the pieces of foam for the walls together. I made a special effort to do this as neatly as possible to make sure everything will fit together nicely at the end. Besides regular straight walls or corner pieces,
This is amazing because they have the full walls. Like the ones I did, again showing this, only have this little side wall, which is good for the minis because then you can see them more clearly from across the table. But this looks amazing.
Slightly different wall pieces as well, like this long corridor, or this adjoining room that has a slide-in insert for a second floor. Once I'd made all my terrain pieces, 90-degree corners, and angled pieces as well. I also made some regular walls that were specially shaped to stick up perpendicularly. Finally, I sprayed everything with a clear matte varnish to try and minimise wear and tear and protect the paintwork.
This is crazy.
A basic set of floors and walls like this is truly customisable and can be used in all different configurations.
The best thing about this is that you can get a set that looks as good as a Dwarven Forge 3D printed, which they look awesome, but they are expensive. Like where I live in Mexico, it's just not cost effective to get it. But if you have the time and you are crafty, you can make stuff like this. Like, I mean, compared to the ones in this video, they look pretty good. Mine are pretty simple, but these do the job too. You just need some time, some cardboard, a silicone pistol. They're just amazing.
What the f is this?
It's the most complicated puzzle I've ever seen!
What do we do with it?
I don't know, my intelligence isn't high enough for this.
Do I seduce it?
Dude, no! It's too obvious.
You're right, sorry.
Obviously, we open my spellbook so we can cast Fireball on it. Oh, it was unlocked this whole time!
I mean, I just love it. We shared a reel on YouTube a few days ago. The easiest way to make time for the GM and entertain the players. And it's just add a closed door. They are going to take so long. The election paralysis is going to give you like 10-15 minutes. It's even better if you add like 2 or 3 doorknobs on the same door and a cryptic message. You have half an hour there.
Now, with the capability to finally bring my players into Malayasmere, I wanted to give them an introductory battle to both show kind of part of my vision for it and to help set the immersive tone for the space.
Wait. Here, Matt Mercer is just showing off. He's just showing off. Have you seen the bookcases in the background?
They were wandering through.
Just look at that. That's a Tarask right there. Here are some dragons. These are thousands, probably tens of thousands of dollars here in just this miniature and small buildings collections. They're just showing off. But I mean, if I had that room, I would be showing it off too.
So in setting up some of the nearby ruins and setting up the slight glimmers of the beautiful elven city that once was, and surrounding it with the dangerous corrupted overgrowth and visuals that show that the city has been retaken by the dark magic that still seeps deep through it. This allowed a number of parts of the battlefield
look at that.
Possibly utilized by both players and villains depending on how the battle went, but more or less primarily just wanted to go ahead and build something unique, visually immersive and exciting to see, explore, and hopefully survive their brief encounter with some of the spectral dangers that still wander these lands.
It's just crazy how much it could run your wallet. It would ruin me to have a room such as that. Okay, this following video, I think we forever GMs can all relate with this. You set up some kind of encounter and then the players just go nuts.
You see a girl and said, "Have you seen my mommy?"
I cast Thunder Spell!
And just like that, the adventure goes down to the drain. Like, I've had players do the craziest things to some nameless NPC that had no impact on the story. And, you know, in some way, just to make it relevant as a GM, now you have to give this NPC a name and make them relevant so that the character's actions kind of make more sense sometimes. Or sometimes it's just they're blowing up the innkeeper. I don't know.
When people are like, oh, you just use fantasy as a way to escape from reality. Yeah, dude! Get me out of here! If not physically, mentally, at the very least.
I think we can all relate. But this is true not only for TTRPG games, it works for all media. For some people, the escape is watching movies. For some people, is reading books or watching TV series or just going out and walking with the dog. And for some of us, it's playing Dungeons and Dragons. So here's one short video I just thought was funny because of the Godfather reference.
You disrespect me. You disrespect my family. You call us stinky, poopy babies. You punched my wife. You kicked my baby. You kicked my fucking baby.
You punched my wife. You killed my baby. Oh my god. Okay, this next video touches on a very important point for TTRPGs, which is the difficulty with which you have to roleplay some types of characters which are very different from what you could be.
Y'all gotta understand there is only one real dumb stat that you should ever take, and it's intelligence, because role-playing that shit is hard.
So if intelligence is your dumb stat, I guess that could be easy to roleplay because it's always within your capacity to roleplay someone less intelligent than you. That sounds terrible, but it is true. However, the opposite is pretty much impossible, which kind of reminds me what happened with Game of Thrones. When they ran out of the source material, those characters which were the most intelligent, like Tyrion Lannister, like the Prince of Dorne, and Lord Varys, the Spider, these three were supposedly the most intelligent people in Westeros. However, the show writers were not that intelligent and they didn't have any more source material to draw from. So, starting in season 5, these characters are not intelligent anymore because even with extra time to write them and plan them, they just couldn't write them as intelligent because I guess they themselves were not that intelligent. So if you have a character which is like, I don't know, intelligence 18, maybe 20, but you are an average Joe, there's nothing wrong with that, but not all of us are super intelligent. How can you roleplay that? How can you roleplay that? It's not important if it's strength or dexterity because it is not necessary for you to do some strength prowess at the table. But for charisma or intelligence, I think they have a point. Okay, this next video is a funny one about how you can go nuts in D&D or pretty much any game that allows min-maxing to create some really crazy builds.
You'd probably want to play as something like a dual-arm Echo Knight fighter with polearm mastery. Elaborate on that. Well, at max level and while hasted, you'd be able to make 4 attacks from your basic attack action, a one-handed haste attack, 3 from your unleashed incarnation triggers, 1 from your bonus action, and another 4 from your attacks once you action surge. For a total
That's crazy so far. That was he's saying that like 13 attacks?
of 13. That's pretty awesome. But that's nothing compared to 54 attacks. I mean, if we're just gonna throw wild numbers out there, sure. The only thing I'm throwing out is a volley. 17 levels of Hunter Ranger and 2 levels of Fighter. There's no way a Ranger can make that many attacks. First have haste cast on you by an ally, and then volley. Then you get to make up to 25 attacks depending on enemy positioning. Well, that's a lot of targets. Then action surge, volley, swift quiver for another 2 attacks, haste attack, horde breaker, death.
This is demented. And this is one of the reasons why I seldom play D&D 5e as of late. I'm about to start a new campaign. We're starting level 1 and as usual, and as pretty much everyone, we're probably gonna end it at level 7, level 8. However, I see stuff like this on Reddit or YouTube from time to time and it's just crazy. Like as a GM, I do not appreciate having to spend 30 minutes on this guy's turn. However, this is a level 18 character or he's at 20 levels. I'm probably never gonna see that in real life. Most people never reach that high, but who knows? Maybe this next campaign is the one that we get all the way to epic levels. This content is sponsored by you, Elven Tower Adventures is more than maps, stories, and quests. We're a fellowship. Your voice matters, and we want to create the best content for you. The best way to support our work is by subscribing to our Patreon page. Who knows? Perhaps our Dungeon Vault magazine could become your every game's companion, or maybe our hundreds of maps and adventures are just what your imagination needs to take your games to the next level. Don't just play D&D, conquer it. Okay, in this next video, Ginny D speaks about letting players win. It's strange that in some games, maybe because of lack of experience, there is like a competitiveness between the GM and the players. It's like it's one against the other, but it should never be like that. The GM should be like the player's cheerleader. It's about the players succeeding in building together a great story. And I think this is what Ginny is trying to say here.
It's okay if your players solve the clues. That's why they're there. Your players getting a leg up is not going to turn the whole adventure into a cakewalk. There's a great tip later in the guide that I love for any tabletop game. It says, if they ask the right question, give them the right answer. You have all the information. It's your job to communicate that information so your players can make informed decisions. Don't be afraid to let them succeed at stuff. I promise it won't ruin the game.
And she's right about that. It gets me thinking how some GMs, they craft let's say a puzzle, and they are proud of the puzzle. And then when the players guess it, they feel some way, no? Like they feel like they've been betrayed by their own puzzle. Like it's just strange. I don't know if I am not eloquent enough to explain it, but I've seen it happen. How it's like they're disappointed that the players managed to solve it. Like they wanted it to be more difficult, but it's not about that. It's about crafting a story. If the players do get it right, you advance the story. This is what you want, no?
Oh shit, here we go again. Let him help me! Help me!
Whoever is responsible for this edit is a genius. In this next video, he's going to share 7 cool tips for new players who are struggling with role-playing. I thought this was very good to include in this video.
Dragons and not sure how to roleplay at the table? Well, here are 7 simple tips that you can use to be the role player that you desire to be. First, role-playing doesn't equal acting. You don't need theater skills in order to roleplay at the table. Just be yourself and tell a story.
And that's important because in this day and age, there's a lot of pressure from stuff like Critical Role. I mean, those are the most popular, but there are many people streaming their games online, and some of them are professionals. And people easily compare themselves to them, and it's just unfair. You shouldn't do that. It's more about having fun.
Second, voices versus choices. If you want to use a cool voice for your character, you definitely can. But make your role-playing more about the choices that your character wants to make. 3, think about what your character would do. Base your actions on your character's background and the decisions that they would make when put into particular situations. 4, small steps count. Describe your actions in detail, like I sit at the bar and take a drink of my ale. 5, table collaboration. Build off the things that the other players are saying and doing and build that into part of your roleplay. 6, it's okay to have a comfort zone. You can always talk about your character in third person. My rogue sneaks around, or my fighter dives into the battle.
I do that all the time. It feels easier for me, especially because I have been a forever GM. It feels strange to speak like it's me saying it, because I am used to always role-playing different characters, and I always say it in the third person to differentiate between them.
7, feel free to grow over time. You don't have to be an expert role player from day one. Build on those skills little by little as you go along. Remember, role-playing is just making decisions.
And to build more on that last point, you don't have to be an expert role player like ever. You don't have to become an expert. That's not the goal. It's cool if you do, but it's about having fun.
Decisions in character. If you approach it from that mindset, roleplay becomes much easier. Common Ground Games has great resources that can help you learn more about role-playing at the table.
It's not lost on me that at the end of the video he actually showed the Critical Role crew, because he knows that everyone's comparing themselves to them, both GMs and players. This video is about the most honest DM advice you'll ever hear, and I thought this was genius. because it's like I've been saying all the time, it's not all that much about the rules or the game conventions or what you want to do. It's about having fun. Just listen to this.
I told you this beforehand. So my biggest thing about Dungeons and Dragons, fuck the book, fuck the minis, fuck the maps, fuck everything. If you and your buddies and the plot, fuck the story. If you and your buddies get together and literally all you did was like explore a room and meanwhile you got drunk and made each other laugh, you did D&D. You did it to the chagrin of the dungeon master who prepped for hours for it. But there is nothing wrong with that. Like, you can just take a load off if you're having fun with your friends. That's why I want players. That's why whenever I GM, I'm like, I will GM you. It's not going to be my friends. I'm not bringing my friends. You bring yours, and I'll get to know them, and we'll all have fun. But it is your game. So be free, merry, and fun, because I'll be here to guide you. And ideally, I become friends with you too. But
but I love that, and the idea of like you are facilitating the experience at the table.
And that is so true. I've been there where I planned the whole dungeon. I had the BBG's speech almost memorized and never memorized. But I mean, I had it written down on my notebook or my laptop, and I had all the minis, and I had my dungeon pieces all set up on the table because I was going to give it all that day. But the vibe was different that day, and we were probably drinking or having some snacks, and we were sometimes getting derailed from the game and speaking about something else. And at the end of the night, we probably explored 2 rooms, had 1 fight, and that was it. But we had the time of our lives, and that's what's important. Here's one I thought was really fun because it really tells the story of the exponential growth of mages in not just D&D. This happens in many different TTRPG games.
I guess I hit the 3 wolves with like a scorching ray. That's really all I got for my turn. Sorry, guys.
I send 3 tactical nukes to the 3 most populous cities of the Goblin Empire.
I can do that spell 3 times a day.
I just thought it was so funny at the end when he says he can do that 3 times. It's just crazy. Like, it is. You read the descriptions for the level 8, level 9 spells, which have probably never been used at my game because we never really level up that high, except once. I saw a video recently where they explained that the actual balance intended in previous editions for high-level casters was that they intended for them to be more rigorous about having the material spell components. So yes, you had these super powerful spells. However, you could not cast them every day or all the time because there were some very particular material components that you had to first acquire. And some of them are very difficult to come by. I guess in modern D&D, we only see this with resuscitation spells that do require a diamond of a certain worth, and sometimes you actually don't have it, and you have to go get it. I don't know if this is accurate or not, but apparently that was the intention, that you had to have the material components, and they were very different from each spell. But as it often is, that is just too much bookkeeping. Different material components for each spell. I guess that's why it got removed. Not really removed, but forgotten. You just ignore it. All right. I guess that's it for today. Thank you for watching if you got this far, and see you in the next one. My name is Derek, and this is Elven Tower Adventures.